and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So Nancy.
I knew you were gonna pick this story, by the way.
Nancy.
When I saw it come out, I was like, that's a story we're doing tomorrow.
Nancy. Nancy Pelosi, Nancy, ice cream, Nancy.
Ice cream.
Just calm down, we feed people. Nancy Pelosi, who hasn't fought for Medicare for all, who's been a big major roadblock to a lot of progressive policies, is seeking re-election at the age of 81.
I mean, she's been a roadblock to Democratic policies.
Oh, yeah, of course. But what I want to make very clear here is that when it comes down to politicians, especially when they reach a certain age, have the dignity to just bow out.
Mm-hmm.
All right? You're at the age of 81. Your family is doing insider trading. Obviously, you've been earning a lot of benefits and side gigs, working with lobby groups. Nancy Pelosi's time has got to go. But apparently, she's not going anywhere because this video came out. I don't know if any of you saw this recent video of Nancy, but as we get this video set up, let's play it in its full entirety.
Hello, it's Nancy. Thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you, our VIPs, our volunteers in politics, in our ongoing engagement for the people. Thank you for being a constant source of new, fresh ideas and political activism to help Democrats deliver and to defend democracy. Thank you for giving me the privilege.
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah, whatever she drank, I don't know what it is. But fresh new ideas. This is the person right here that's been a huge roadblock to any progressive policy. And mind you, the squad has been giving their silent, obedient consent, and I'm willing to bet that the squad is going to do everything they can to support Nancy, because at this point, the resistance or any hope of pushing back against the Democratic establishment is long since null and void. Let's play it again.
To represent our city and our San Francisco values in the Congress: human rights, reproductive justice, LGBTQ equality, respect for immigrants, and care for each other. When people ask me what are the 3 most important issues facing the Congress, I always say the same thing: our children, our children, our children.
Oh,
their health, their education, the housing and economic security of their families, a clean, safe environment in which they can thrive, and a world at peace and where they are all welcome and in which they can reach their fulfillment. That is my why I am in Congress, for the children. This is my story, and this is my song. As you hear me say, when you're in the arena, you have to be able to take a punch or throw a punch for the children. In terms of health, my first words on the floor of the House were to fight against HIV/AIDS, to fight the disease and discrimination.
How about Medicare
Working
for all?
together, we passed the Affordable Care Act, strengthened Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, lowered prescription drug prices, and now are fighting COVID with equity. In San Francisco, the climate is not an issue, it is an ethic. Education, the economy, and the environment are all part of how we address the climate crisis, creating good-paying green union jobs, affordable housing, clean energy, infrastructure, transportation justice, and education, educating the next generation to succeed in safe schools with 21st century skills. Our safe communities require gun violence prevention, addressing the root causes of crime, and supporting law enforcement with justice in policing. Our vision for a world at peace requires a strong democracy at home as an example to the world. We are grateful to our men, women in uniform, veterans, and military families, and honor their sacrifice with our insistence on securing voting rights, an end to big, dark money in politics, and amplifying the voice of the grassroots. While we've made progress, much more needs to be done to improve people's lives. Our democracy is at risk because of assaults on the truth, the assault on the U.S. Capitol, and the state-by-state assault on voting rights.
My God.
This election is crucial. Nothing less is at stake than our democracy. But as we say, we don't agonize, we organize. And that is why I am running for re-election to Congress and respectfully seek your support. I would be greatly honored by it and grateful for it. Thank you so much.
Obviously, Nancy old hagbag Nancy had a whole box of wine to drink, and then drank another box of wine to go along with it, and then had some rum raisin ice cream. So here's what I keep saying on the show. Remember in 2020, our politicians abandoned us. Remember that in 2021, our politicians abandoned us. They didn't do anything about Medicare for all. We never got any UBI, no Federal Jobs Guarantee Act. We're not investing into our infrastructure. Student loan debt crisis is still going on. We have a medical debt crisis happening. People are being evicted from their homes and apartments. Small business owners are struggling day in, day out. What kind of world or what kind of policies is Nancy talking about that she's helped implement when she's been the major roadblock to them all? This is what I keep saying. These politicians don't think about you. They don't like you, but they really don't think about you. And what did I say what was going to happen in 2022? What did I say? That they are now going to have the audacity to put on this smiling neoliberal mask and come crawling and begging, saying, please vote for me. This is what I believe in, and I'm doing this for the children, the children, the children. She sounded like an evil little demon to say, I'm doing it for the children, the children, the children. Bring me the child. Like seriously. Sacrifice.
That's pretty good. She doesn't quite sound like that, but yeah, no, that's a good demon voice.
Sacrifice the children to me. Anyways. I'm sorry, I digress. But it's just so insane that this politician, again, at 81, there does come a point, we got these lawmakers that are in their 80s and 90s. What more can they do? This also, again, proves the point that what Tulsi Gabbard brought up in that interview she did with Joe Rogan, that Congress is filled with people who haven't developed mentally outside of high school. It's a high school mentality. They're holding on to power like ignorant brats at this point. And I've seen high school students that have more intelligence, more compassion than any of the Democratic and Republican lawmakers. And we got these lawmakers who are Democrat and Republican who are 80s and 90s. And there's a couple of the videos, but Kira, let's get your commentary.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's tough to watch that video for a lot of reasons. One being is that this woman is supposed to be the leader of the Democratic Party, the party that is in power fully right now.
Right, they have the majority.
And she's called the Speaker of the House, and she can barely put a sentence together without some level of like slurring or just being able to be clear and strong and confident sounding, you know? And that, I mean, even though that's really just theatrics are really important when you're going to be in a leadership position. You have to be able to articulate. You have to be able to give confidence to the people who are looking up to you. And when I watch Nancy Pelosi speak, I don't feel confidence. I get nervous.
Yes.
And I'm not even rooting for her. I don't even like her. And I get nervous for her when I'm watching her because I don't think she has everything together.
Same thing with Dianne Feinstein as well. I mean,
it's tough to watch in that regard. Secondly, it's tough to watch because, and you've already pointed this out really well, so I don't need to go too far into the rabbit hole on it. It's just that she's listing off all of these policies and ideas that she obviously either doesn't back or has no idea how to back because it's all stuff that isn't getting done, you know? And it's just, and that's just really aggravating. And then you have things like, oh, I do it for the children. I want a safe environment. She was the woman that called the Green New Deal the Green Dream or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, just to remind everybody and that she scoffs at policies that would be good for our children. You know, and so it's really, that's also why it's very, very difficult to listen to her because she's lying. She's just hard to listen to in general. And she makes me nervous as hell.
I know.
I also think Nancy Pelosi is the poster child for term limits. She's had 18 terms now, which is just an ungodly amount of time. We need term limits because when people acquire this power, it's very hard to wrestle it away from them because incumbents win, what is it, like 90 some odd percent of the time in their elections. Not to mention, like, the Democratic machine that's behind her would never ever let her lose. And so term limits are a must. And, you know, and we see it with our more progressive leaders who have come in. They came in guns blazing, you know, holding up, you know, space outside of Nancy's office even, you know, to fight for things and really cause a ruckus. And then it's a minimal amount of time, they're starting to already really conform. And I'm not saying like everything that they should always vote against the Democrats. That'd be silly. And you vote on the policy, right?
Right.
But it's like we're seeing people taking votes or making votes that are obviously not aligned with what they ran on. And I would assert not aligned with who they are. And I think it is the cesspool, the swamp. That's a good word, Trump. The swamp that is Washington, D.C.
Well, you know, again, it's hard to really follow up with that because let's face it, this is the same Speaker of the House that the Squad decided to name as, again, Speaker of the House way back in January of 2021 when Force the Vote was happening. But it seems like the Squad, very similar to Sam Cedar, does not care. Shout out to Jackson Hinkle for actually demolishing Sam Cedar. But anyways, I do want to bring out a couple of videos to catch your attention on this too, because corporate media is also responding to the fact that Nancy, doing it for the children.
That's a good one.
You know, here's corporate media responding to her reelection or her reelection campaign. Let's play it. Shout out to Case Study QB.
With Speaker Pelosi. The re-election announcement caught a few people off guard yesterday, and there are some who wonder if it was time to distract from the now more than 24 Democrats who have said they're retiring from the House later this year. Give us your sense as to the announcement, and what do we think her future is going forward?
John, there's no such thing as coincidences in politics. Let's just put it that way. House Democrats are rushing for the exits, and they have, as you note, 29 of them. Most recently, Jim Cooper, Democrat of Tennessee, who's been serving in the House on and off since 1983, has announced he's going to retire. So I don't make much, if anything, of this announcement, to be quite frank with you. People run for office until they don't run for office. They're speaker until they're not speaker. And the ultimate question for Pelosi, given what we know today about the climate based on public polling, based on history, Republicans are the favorite to win the House majority. Does Pelosi, A, want to lead Democrats into losing the majority again, if that were to happen, as the polls and public sentiment would indicate? And number two, would she want to serve in a House minority? And the answer to that, at 80-something years old, I don't know whether she would or not. But listen, she's got as much energy and vigor as ever before, as someone who talks to her nearly every day when Congress is in session. But I don't make much of this. I just think this is an announcement to make an announcement. I don't think this is much. There's much else to this.
God, that asshole has his head up his ass. I'm being really fucking serious here.
Who's that guy?
Some neoliberal pundit on MSDNC. Look, here's the real truth about Nancy. She doesn't have the energy to do so. And by the way, Nancy being with the Democrats as they're losing, you know, under Nancy Pelosi's leadership, the Democrats have lost a lot. But she's Michael Jordan.
Lost a lot.
She's Michael Jordan good at not leading or winning, but doing fundraisers, getting that money. That money. That's one thing Nancy's good at. Getting the money. And let's face it, her protege, AOC, also calls Nancy Mama Bear. Maybe AOC is learning something from Mama Bear. So they're all going to be part of a losing Democratic Party. Democrats, vote blue no matter who. There's your heavyweight champion. We got one more video from Case Study QB. And then, Kira, I want to give you the final closing words for the story. Let's play it.
Sacramento Bee says the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, will run for another term in Congress. The 81-year-old California Democrat said the upcoming election is crucial and democracy is at risk. Her announcement ends months of speculation on whether she would retire. She has served 18 terms in office, but it's unclear whether she will run again for House Speaker. In the past, progressives have called on Pelosi to step down and allow someone else to represent San Francisco. Sacramento Bee says the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi,
Repeat itself. I'm Nancy. Like, I'm not letting go. I'm staying for the children. The children.
The children.
The children. So that's Nancy. 18 terms. What more can she do? Kira, your final thoughts on this?
I think that what we can solidly ground ourselves in is that the message from the Democratic Party and from this new announcement of Nancy Pelosi running yet again is nothing will fundamentally change